Bombshell DNA evidence in the Nancy Guthrie case, and a media war starring me and CNN? Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, here as always with the lovely, it's Kim. Back from Tucson, Kim. We've been live reporting, and while I was there, if you guys watched that stream with me and JLR, CNN asked to interview me. Well, the interview has apparently been popping up all over CNN today. I mean, a lot of text. Thanks everybody for letting me know. They've, I guess, repurposed parts of my interview all day. And of course, Kim, using it in the context of those damn influencers and streamers messing up the case. Thankfully, I come out better because they don't actually defame me, surprisingly. Good for them. But still, this piece is worthy of going through, and we will in a second. But first, I just want to update you guys on the latest. There were two individuals that entered the home today that didn't seem like cops, but they were approved by the cops to go in. They took like a briefcase out. They went to the back, and so one of them had a briefcase, and they showed up to the house, and then they, about an hour or so, left. Aside from that, the big DNA bombshell evidence that's been teased all over through TMZ and others, turns out the DNA evidence from the gloves found 2 miles from the residence were submitted to CODIS. There was a lot of back and forth, Kim, of whether they were going to give it to CODIS, which is the FBI database. Well, now Pima County is saying they did submit it to CODIS, and it produced no matches. Additional DNA evidence was found at the residence that is also being analyzed. Meanwhile, Pima County couldn't tell how to write the tweet. So like 20 minutes later, they did another tweet. These guys are absolute buffoons. It's incredibly frustrating to watch. And now they're also saying, to be clear, the Guthrie family, including all siblings and spouses, have been cleared of as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious, and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. Now, we were always very careful, Kim, when we did this. In fact, we called out the media that brought up the family, which was Ashley Banfield of News Nation, previously News Nation and NBC, et cetera. And been a journalist for what, 30-something years,
She's independent now, in all fairness. But yeah, she's been a journalist for a very long time.
Yeah, she's no YouTube person, as they're trying to claim it. But anyway, she's the one who sort of alluded to one of the family, a brother-in-law or whatever, being mentioned. Well, now everyone's saying, because of that release from the sheriff, nope, they've all been cleared. Now, I don't know what this, maybe this is political, maybe this is a way to make them feel more at ease. Maybe it was all nonsense. I don't know. We never really knew. That's why we didn't really jump on this. But because people have, now the media is getting all worried about all these sleuths. Let's get through this. I want to watch this scene because we want to point out the hypocrisy. Kim has done a fantastic job. Let's get into it.
A major move in a story that has drawn interest from streamers and YouTubers, all trying to work the case. CNN's chief media analyst Brian Selter with a look at their role tonight. Brian?
Hey, Laura. Yeah, today's statement from the Pima County Sheriff was a direct response to the armchair detectives who have been
armchair detectives, that's what they're calling us.
Wildly and sometimes irresponsibly speculating about suspects. You know, there's been so much online energy about this case. A lot of that energy has been good and well-intentioned, but some of it maybe not so much. At times, the chatter has been distracting and maybe even downright harmful to the investigation. It feels like there's almost a parallel universe of these true crime influencers, some of whom have even flown to Arizona.
What we're seeing in our community and our city right now is just not normal.
That's Arizona state lawmaker Alma Hernandez, fed up with the misinformation being peddled online and on the ground.
We have individuals who are calling themselves journalists, who are YouTubers, and quite frankly, just really random individuals who are out there with their cameras and live streaming. But I think at the end of the day, what we need to be talking about is the fact that these individuals are actually, like I said, causing more harm than good.
Who? Alma, I'd like you to call out specifically these bad actors. If this isn't truthfully a dangerous thing, why aren't you calling them out? Because by generalizing all of us, you now paint this negative brush on us as if we are the problem. Internet sleuths, YouTubers, as we all keep getting called, which to me, I'm starting to hate that name even more. When people call me a YouTuber, we're way more than a YouTuber. We are journalists. We are citizen journalists, many of these people out there. And it's frustrating that Alma here is calling us
random
out.
Individuals who are out there with their cameras and live streaming. But I think at the end of the day, what we need to be talking about is the fact that these individuals are actually, like I said, causing more harm than good.
So what's the example? This is the only example they have. And Kim, can you check the Telegram while we're there? See if you can help me find that before I'm done taping this recap.
In one instance, a delivery driver tried to deliver a pizza at Nancy Guthrie's door. According to local reports, someone ordered the pizza for an unidentified blogger at the scene.
A blogger. Now, which blogger? Brian, was it one of your team members? Was it News Nation? There's a million people on that. Was it just a random prank from somebody outside watching your coverage? Why are you now using this as your sole reason why we're problems? Obviously, this was bad. None of the citizen journalists you're calling, or whatever you want to call them, sleuths, was ordering a pizza to the house. This was clearly someone outside of that. That's out of their control. It frustrates me that this is the sole example they're using to paint us negatively. Because why? I think because they're threatened. Because they constantly have to make us look bad.
The sheriff's department incredulously called it out, saying, "We can't believe we have to say this. Do not order food delivery to a crime scene address."
Yeah, no, duh. And the Pima County jumped on this because they've bumbled so many things. It was the first time they were like, oh, yeah. But as BJ and others have said,
yes,
this wouldn't have happened if you'd put crime scene tape and actually done the investigation properly, right, Kim?
And that's the thing, too. It's like, don't order food delivery to a crime scene address. Is it a crime scene? Because based on what you guys were doing, it was not under that anymore. There was no tape. There was no identification that it was an active crime scene. So if you don't have that identification there, random pizza dude's not going to know that.
Right. And when I went this weekend, there finally was an officer in the driveway that was stopped from people from coming up, including, I think, Jake Tapper walked up into the house and attempted to knock on the door from CNN. I remember JLR, or I think Brian or one of them, reported on that. Jake Tapper showed up, tried to knock on the door, and then no one answered, and he left. But apparently he can go up there because he's Jake Tapper of CNN. Ludicrous.
It's the fear of missing out.
John DePetro is a streamer from Rhode Island who flew to Tucson to cover the case.
The type of content I do, Nancy Guthrie update. All right, a couple of things. It's not for someone that just wants to watch the news and get a quick recap. It's for the people that can't get enough of it.
Now, I'm unfamiliar with John, but it looks like, yeah, he's out there streaming this live streaming as well across social media, and he's doing a responsible job.
DePetro says he uses his own sources and aggregates from others that he trusts.
There's certain key people that I depend on and I use as a source. John Miller is one. There's few people that are as knowledgeable as he is.
But DePetro admits that others online are not as disciplined.
It gets tiresome because they just totally go on rumor.
Yes, there's always a bad streamer once in a while or somebody who does something maybe not correct, but I think the audience is wising up to the smart ones. Here we go. We got, oh wow, look at this. Sawyer's crushing.
Andy Signore is another YouTuber who's been doing this for years.
We have about 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and we're on Instagram and most of the other ones as well. There's that view. Sunset's coming.
Signore flew all the way from Tampa to cover the case.
My parents live in Tucson, and so it hit home a little harder for me just because I was like, this is tragic and scary. And I wanted to make sure that there was enough people really spotlighting the case because I'm worried some of the authorities haven't been as on top of it as maybe they should have been.
We'll come back to that in a second, but yes, they edited me okay. I was surprised. I'm glad. And I'm glad they put the part about my parents because that's why I flew out. I didn't fly out for this case. I flew out to see my parents, and while we were talking, they wanted to, see me at work, and I also wanted to see what was happening because I do worry that my parents are in Pima County, and I don't trust Pima County.
Signore says he first covered the Gabby Petito mystery about 5 years ago, and that story showed him just how curious the true crime audience can be.
That's what's, I think, really impressive about our streamers is the audiences are so invested. They want to be there 24/7. They want to help.
But while Signore and DePetro have remained responsible in their coverage,
thank God they didn't. They did. Good to their credit. They called us as the good ones. Okay, great.
Other streamers and influencers have not.
I don't think anyone enjoys in our community seeing that an individual who they, got a tip saying that they are a suspect is now all over social media and everyone, calling them the kidnapper, right?
Let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about that because there's Alma. I need specifics, Alma, because you're calling out my profession and all my colleagues. Oh man, they're calling out suspects. I wonder who was doing. Oh right, Ashley Banfield, previously News Nation, previously NBC, journalist at like 30-something years. stands by single source accusation that Savannah's brother-in-law is a suspect in Nancy's disappearance after Sheriff Brandon reporting reckless. Banfield has not knocked down, and Banfield is not a YouTuber, Kim, is she?
I mean, she's independent now, but she has been in the industry for a long time. And
she's a correspondent for News Nation.
Yeah,
she said this on News Nation.
She's been in this for a minute. And I understand why when she said what she said, people believed her. Now, we felt like it was a bit reckless for her to do this because it was so early on in the investigation. And on the off chance that she was wrong or the source was wrong, the damage that it could do to this individual. And I genuinely do feel bad for him. I don't think it was right. But it wasn't a random guy sitting on his couch, like live streaming, picking his nose and going, well, I think it's this. And then the whole internet started talking about it. That's not what happened.
No, it was Ashley.
And in the way that this is painted, it kind of makes it look like they're blaming, you know, an independent small journalist for this. And that's not the case.
And to be clear, people are mad. Like, I don't know what Ashley, if Ashley's right, then, you know, I still have questions of her releasing that before it was supposed to come out. I do. If she's right, then great. If she was wrong, it was reckless of her. It was. Let's keep it honest. And I've called that out. And maybe they were looking into the brother-in-law, and her putting it out there and making it more public didn't help the case. It's possible, right? All I know is this example that they're giving wasn't from YouTubers. That's the real frustration here. And on top of that, shout out again, Kim, what a brilliant job. Here's we now can confirm through an inside source. Investigators believe Nancy Guthrie at Upton was an intended burglary, and DNA evidence is incurred. Blah, 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 blah. Here's what we know as this woman, Whitney, reports. I want to
take you through the new information we've learned. We can now report investigators now believe this was a burglary gone wrong. We've interviewed multiple experts since this began.
Wow, look who found this. Look who it is, Rep. Alma Hernandez. Thank you for actually being a real reporter who knows how it's done and how it's handled, all with professionalism and grace. I am proud of you. Huh, interesting, because this whole burglary gone wrong was later proven to be BS, as Sheriff Nares proved. Did not come from us. No idea, even though it's one of many possibilities. We would not speculate on such a thing. We will not make the evidence, everybody come in. They have no clue where this came from. This is not something, it is not a burglary gone wrong. Any report otherwise is inaccurate. This is a very active investigation. But somehow, for some reason, this speculation, that was great work, huh? That was great work, wasn't it, Alma? I can't stand this, Kim. I cannot stand this. These generalizations are so dangerous.
I think the biggest thing that I look at with this situation, and I don't say this to belittle anybody or insult anybody or, you know, that type of thing. I'm saying it because I believe that Ashley Banfield probably heard from a source that she believed what she was saying was accurate. The same as I believe that what Brianna Whitney heard, that she believed that what she was saying was accurate. Sources can be mistaken. Mistakes can happen. And it happens across all media, whether it is legacy or new media. And we're all just trying to get to the bottom of this. We're all just trying to help with the case. But if we're going to, you know, get upset about this, I just felt like this was a very disingenuous way to bring this in and to frame it that it's the people from, like, the YouTubers, whatever, independent journalists, that it's our fault that there's an issue here. When the more that you look into the story, the more that you see there's some really suspicious things happening with law enforcement. There is serious concerns about the conduct
let's play
of what
real
is going
quick
on
before
here.
we run out of time on this one. Here's what is his role in the office?
He is a sergeant.
Sergeant
And
who's
he's
part of a
also head of
union,
the
so
union.
he's allowed to speak out about nanos, and he reveals this.
The blood drops.
Tell me a little bit about, I read about a no confidence vote for the sheriff.
Yes, sir.
When was that?
That was, if my memory serves me correctly, it was in 2024, early 2024, I believe. And we took an anonymous no confidence vote, or confidence vote, and it returned, except for one vote, it was unanimous no confidence in Sheriff Nanos.
Yikes. Unanimous in his department and a confidence level for this guy who's in charge. Unanimous. Interesting. Well, all I know
Except one.
except for one, but probably I wonder if he was the one voted for himself. All I know is we're doing our best we can to be as obvious and as safe and possible as always. It's funny. I sent this to my family. Like, look, I made it on CNN. My sister's like, I'm glad you didn't order a pizza. And my mom says, yeah, we were hungry too. But we didn't order the pizza because we're responsible journalists. And thank you, CNN, for at least saying it that way. And I'm glad. But if you saw me on CNN, let me know in the comments. And look, less mad at. He could have done a better job and called out Nanos for what's actually happening. I don't like that CNN is trying to paint this general brush against all of us. Of course, there are some bad ones. There's some bad CNN anchors too. There's bad mainstream anchors. There's bad all over the place. But as Kim and we were talking earlier, if it wasn't for the online sleuths, they would have never found Gabby Petito. It was Red, White, and Bethune who was going through the footage, a YouTube family who went through and went back and found that van. And that's what ultimately led us there. Thank goodness. And a lot of that was then sort of solved from there. But don't count us all out like this. I hope they don't. I hope we know better. And this Alma lady, come on, girl. What are you doing? This was a bad take. Come with specifics. Come with specifics and name names. Otherwise, stop with this generalization because I don't like this thing at all. But yeah, keep tuning in. Hit that subscribe. Kim and I have a lot more to talk about, but we wanted to make sure we gave you the best of it here in this recap.